Hi friends, this is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average Canadian wolfpack come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A safe space where being yourself is the ultimate goal. Each week we will bring you new episodes sharing our opinions on a ton of different topics in hopes we can get a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and this crazy world we live in. We want to build a community where we can show up as ourselves, be real, and lay it all out there. By sharing our opinions and experiences, we hope to reach others who can relate so we can all help each other learn, grow, and heal. But please keep in mind, as a disclaimer, none of us here are professionals. No one is giving any advice. We are strictly speaking of our life experiences, our opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. We hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy, and I am the host of the show. And today, y'all, we are on episode 108, Cults or Not, NXIVM. Number 2 in our Cults or Not series, where we bring you some information that we have collected from the internet, read, don't know if it's true or not, and brought to you. And we're going to let you decide and encourage you to do your own research on these quote unquote groups and decide if you think that they are cults or not by your definition. Because, you know, words are changing their definitions every single day. So can't just say that. But in this episode, the babes and I go over the stuff that we have found about NXIVM. This one is similar but different to Scientology, and it takes a really dark turn as we find that most do starts off with a really good idea, a really good gem, a possible beautiful future, and somewhere along the line, people get crazy and shit gets fucked up. So we're going to talk about it today. But before we get on to the episode, take a minute. If you could like this video, if you are on YouTube or Rumble, if you can subscribe to our channels, make sure you're turning on those notification bells so you find out when we launch an episode, because we're launching a lot this season. Let me tell you, season 5 is going to have a lot more realness coming to you, I promise. So if you guys could please give us a like, give us a share, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. We would really appreciate it. And with that being said, let's get on to the show. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show of the day, cult number 2. And in studio today, we have our babe D. Hey, D.
Hi.
And our babe Hales. Hey, Hales.
Hey.
Are we excited for number 2 or what?
Very. Dude, this one's wild.
Okay, like, also, I'm kind of having creepy dreams, and I'm kind of like, you know, when you're like looking into stuff and things getting weird.
Oh, God.
I'm like, I feel like
Those
after
are
this
weird.
month, I am good to be done looking into cults. Like, I've been going
can't
heavy.
watch a zombie movie without weird dreams.
Yeah.
I feel like some things just get you hard.
Yeah. I'm like,
Conspiracies are one of them too, because they're bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, Scientology, it was like, just
They're similar.
very shocking. They're similar, but very shocking in a way of like the secrecy of like what the end goal is, right? Like that,
how
just
business
kind of
structure.
Yes.
To me, it seems.
Well, even secrecy of it in general, because Scientology,
Yes.
like they really wanted to recruit people and like spread it,
Yeah.
you know, where this
Yes.
one, it's like
like
people
a
weren't
sneaky
supposed
way.
to know about it, and then they just,
Yes.
you know, somebody
And there's
obviously
like a
ran
cult
away and
in a cult, and there's like so many
Yeah.
different pieces. So
It's
yeah,
insane.
it's insane. And honestly, there's a lot. Like we said, the ones that we've
barely
picked are
scratching the
just
surface
skimming,
tonight.
barely. Yeah, and even in these, like, this is a lot, and we can only fit
Yeah.
so much into an hour and a half. But as we were doing this, Haley went and got her hair done and found some definitions from dictionaries of what cults is. So we thought we would give those instead of this botched version that we had from Wikipedia the last time.
Yeah, fuck Wikipedia.
So these definitions come from 3 different dictionaries from my aunt. Shout out to Aunt Camilla. One of the dictionaries was the Grosset Webster Dictionary. I believe this is the one from the 60s. The other dictionary is the Oxford Reference Dictionary, and this one was from the 90s. And then the Funk and Wagnall's Standard College Dictionary was from the 80s. Okay, so 70s, 80s, and 90s, or 60s. Sorry, 70s. Anyways,
Long
so the
time.
one.
Long time.
It's late night. Formal religious veneration, a religious system, also its adherents, a faddish devotion, also a group of persons showing such devotion. So that was the 60s.
Okay.
So it was very, like, I feel like very general and weirdly
Yes.
worded. I did not like this one, but it did come down to
You could deem a
group
lot
of
of things
persons
that, I
showing
feel.
devotion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I feel like that's a little bit
Exactly.
more religious, like, you know, that's like, there's not really
But
a
there's
blend
a theme,
there.
right?
There's a
So
theme there
then-
for
For
sure.
sure.
So then the 80s was called, right here, a system of religious beliefs, sect, an intellectual obsession, fad. So that one was like super skint, and like there was even less than the original. So,
Yeah.
but they still had religious belief, but they didn't make it sound so, and then intellectual obsession
Yeah.
kind of went to it. So then the 90s, where is it? A system of religious rites and observations, the cult of Aphrodite. So I don't know if that's like a whole other cult.
We'll have
that
to
we
look
need
into
start
that one.
looking into,
Apparently, like, write that down.
but, yeah.
Yeah.
Zealous devotion to a person, idea, or thing. We like that one the best, I think.
That
And
one
then
sounds
the
about...
object of this devotion, the followers of a cult and a sect. So yeah, like a zealous devotion to a person, ideal, or thing, I think is one of my favorite definitions we have so
Yeah.
far.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like,
But
thinking
yeah, it was
about
crazy to see how it evolved, and it always
Yeah.
involved something religious, which I
Yes.
found interesting because
Yep.
like there are cults that aren't religious.
Yes, I
But-
agree.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like
this
there's a
one
good portion
wasn't.
that
This one
No.
wasn't. This one wasn't
No.
based in religion. In my like, this is-
Scientology was. It was
Scientology
a
was
religion.
religion.
It had like
But
a
again-
Just so they could be tax free.
But
Yeah.
they leaned on science more, right? So like if
Yeah.
it wasn't for tax purposes, would they say they're religion, or would they say they're more science-based belief?
Exactly.
Like I would
Yeah.
say if there wasn't money involved, they would probably say more the latter. But this
Yeah.
one I found really interesting with NXIVM, that a lot of people were like, it's more of a self-development, and a lot of like really smart people got involved in it. And it was more like, it didn't seem like, I think it's, what's her name? Sarah Edmondson. She says that
Yeah.
like, it wasn't like everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid kind of like, you know, type of
Vibe.
thing. Vibe. It was like improvement and enlightenment.
It was
and
more
in a
like the
way
weird
made
shit that
sense.
went on in the background. That is,
Yeah, and a lot
makes
of people
this
didn't know
so
too.
messed up.
Scientology had that like all those lower levels of Scientology.
Yeah.
They're all self-help. See, and it always
Yeah.
starts somewhere
Yeah.
Yes,
with
and
good intention of self-help.
Yeah. There was
It's
an
wild.
episode I watched in this last week with that Erin Levin Smith from Scientology that also met up with, I can't remember her name, but it was one of the NXIVM girls.
Oh my
And-
gosh.
Oh no!
Okay, it went
Was
off.
that the whole building? Oh,
Yeah, it was. So this is like the third or fourth time that's happened. Thankfully, it only went off like once, but
I was
I
gonna
was
say,
at a
Danielle,
heart
and thankfully
are you
it wasn't
on
at
fire?
like 2 a.m.
What
like
is
the
going
last
on?
time. No,
I
it's
didn't know if that was even me.
it's finicky.
I know.
I was
Yeah.
about to start listening.
Peace.
I was
I'll catch
drunk.
up next time. Yeah.
I was about to hit the ground. Fuck, we're leaving that in.
This is real life, people.
This is what happens when you try to record a fucking podcast every time.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, that was, I think, the difference of this one based in a lot of them, that this wasn't like a religious like focus. It was literally getting yourself better. And yeah, it was, watch The Survivors, guys. Like, what, The Vow, I believe is
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
series.
say that. Mhm.
Yeah, and but there's lots of people that talk. This is another one.
There's a
because-
lot of
yeah,
books
anyways,
too.
There's a lot of books
It's not-
because it's
They
known.
had quite a few celebrities, but they didn't, I think, have as many as Scientology.
Not as Scientology. No, I don't think so.
But they
But
did
they
try.
had, yeah, they did try.
There
Oh,
were some I didn't
definitely.
recognize any of them. So, but
No,
they
just
also
the-
didn't want
just
it really known, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
They just
so
wanted money to back it and things to keep it kind of popular.
yeah, and
going,
probably
I guess.
they were just mentally fucked up and thought it was a good idea regardless.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, that
sounds
guy,
about.
Raniere is insane, in my
Yes.
opinion. Like,
Do you want
Yeah.
to
he's
start
crazy.
off?
But
Do you want
I
to
was
take
gonna
us
say,
from the
do you
start?
know where he gets his start? B, your
Mhm.
favorite.
Oh God, yes,
So
Scientology.
he was an original MLMer.
Yeah.
Right.
He
my favorite.
He got in trouble in 1996, and he was ordered to pay $40,000 and was permanently banned from promoting, offering, and granting participation in changing distribution schemes. So he was banned from MLM, Ponzi, whatever you want to call them, schemes. It was a big deal, but it was after that him and what's her name, Nancy Salzman,
Yeah,
who is
sounds like she's off of Breaking Bad. That's what I think.
Yeah,
there's there's so many trees in this.
Dude, it's
group.
Crazy. She was a former registered psychiatric nurse, hypnotist, and neurolinguist programming expert, whatever the hell
scary.
She was a very intense, like, medical, like, I don't know how
she knows what she's doing.
She does.
But yeah, so her and Raniere were the ones that founded it in 1998. And it was a personal development company offering executive success programs. They call them ESPs. And a range of techniques for self-improvement. And their main emphasis was on people enjoying life and getting joy out of their lives and like fulfilling lives, which is crazy to think that that to me sounds
and
great.
being the best you. Yeah.
Stop there.
Sign me up.
Awesome.
Yeah, sign me up. But
for them,
then
right?
it's like, and then what? What else are we? What comes with that? Like,
they're
scares me.
They made their way to 4 different like main locations. It started in New York, Albany, Mexico, LA, and in Vancouver. And I'm pretty sure that's where they picked up.
Yeah, some people still live there. Some of the family, whatever.
And like it was huge in Canada. Apparently, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. It was kind of like, and it's on your guys' freaking side of the.
Obviously, it's BC. Just kidding.
Of course it is.
I mean, it's always.
I could say it about a lot of provinces, so.
Yeah. But it's always BC though. But
I just found like their starting seemed kind of like okay, like
everything sounds
where I
good.
stopped, I was like, hey, that sounds like interesting. But then all the rest you hear after is like, okay, wait, what? Like,
what time?
I've never seen something take such a like sinister twist.
And the
like,
fact that like they were actually convinced that everything was okay, and like some still kind of have that mindset, whether they're like part of it or not.
Honestly, I've watched
like
one girl, and she was like, "None of this is true. Like we had a choice. Everyone was aware." And I'm watching this interview, and I'm like, not to be not to be judgmental, but I think you're still caught up in it. Like, what are you saying? Like you're listening to like 20, 30 women like saying all this stuff about him from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
It's not even so much NXIVM that I find is disturbing. That's disturbing. But Keith, that's a whole other ball game. This guy is an very questionable individual. And it's crazy that he can convince people of his charisma, so many of how great he was and how he knew everything and the answers to everything.
Dude, they called him Vanguard. He had his own like title and nickname.
And Saltzman had one too.
Saltzman was prefect because she was the first student, like the star pupil.
And this Vanguard was a video game name. That's where he got it from. I think where it was like...
Wasn't it something to do like destroying your enemies like gives you power and like increases your power? Like that right there. As soon as I read that, I'm like, oh, this is going to go dark.
This is going to go dark.
Red flag. Fuck, I need the red flags. I need to make them. I keep forgetting. I'm setting a reminder. Seriously, red flag. That is the reddest flag I have.
It's the Canadian red flags.
Pink water bottle, y'all. Pink water bottle.
Mine's red. It's a piece of shit, but...
We're waving it.
Serious,
we're already early. Yeah,
Who gives himself like a name like that, like a title.
And I think that's what to me makes the biggest difference, and that's the biggest red flag. If it's a group that is saying this person has all the answers and you cannot question
profit
or profit type thing. Like to me,
the fact that it wasn't allowed to be known in general.
Yeah.
Why?
Like, why is everything such secrets? And like, oh my gosh, the thing that kind of I find interesting is that because he did start an MLMs, he turned this into an MLM, and especially the women in DOS.
That's what it's called too. It's an MLM based cult.
Yes, like I'm just gonna leave it at that. A lot of the facts that I have are super random about him and about this situation some of these people came into.
Spit them out. I like random.
Okay, so when Raniere was 24 years old, supposedly, allegedly, and everything we say in this is hypothetical, what we read on the internet, don't sue us, allegedly, entertainment purposes. Okay, so at 24 years old, he allegedly slept with two 15-year-old girls, and when he told the older sisters, it was that her soul is older than her body. Yeah. So, what?
Yeah.
What do we call that?
He was arrested in 2020, which took them that long.
So gross.
That long.
I hate, it hurts me that victims
had to wait that long.
It does take a long time. Yeah.
Well, and he was convicted of so many things.
So many things.
Is expansive.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And so I guess when I look back at him, what it sounded like, he was really smart. Like he has a really high, what is that? GPA? Not GPA.
IQ?
I don't know. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That they rated him on? Yeah. Obviously mine isn't large and high, whatever. And I guess what I had read is that once he was told this and his family was like, oh, you're really smart, it turned, something changed to him and he started acting like Jesus-like God.
Like he's the smartest.
Everything.
He started acting like he knew it. Yeah.
Everything. And maybe at such a young age, he just built that confidence. Yeah. And that complex. And apparently his mom said that he would hear, girls call and he would say the same things to these women over and over again, and how much he cared about them and how much he loved them. And she was like, well, you can't love all of them. This is stuff that started a long time ago and bred for a long time. And I think he got these women bless you, thinking of he it's a thing. I cannot not say bless you. It's just a thing. Someone will be in worshiping him. And I think because he acted like he knew so much, because he was smart and he was well versed, and it's insane how much money people put into this, and how Alison Mack,
funny how there's always a money
gone.
aspect to these things.
Always. Even just big corporations or
yes. And who's all involved in this? That's what I want to know. So so the Alison. So the Bronfman twins, their past liquor company was involved with NXIVM. They paid over $150 million US, which covered his trading losses, and bought planes and funded the lawsuits.
Is it them that still owe properties? Somebody within that little chain still, or allegedly still, owns properties and is still making money off of them.
That doesn't surprise me.
Jesus, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it doesn't. So the same Bronfman twins, one of them allegedly slept with the booking agent of the Dalai Lama, and they had spent $2 million in 2009 to have the 14th Dalai Lama come and give their group an approval, and they got it.
Oh my gosh.
How?
Well, for that much.
Well, yeah.
With the
allegedly. This is what I read on the internet.
In many places.
No one's immune from the creepy genes, apparently. You inherit them in all walks of life. The fucking booker of the Dalai Lama.
It literally...
That's creepy.
And he's supposedly a monk. So what? That's... What? So I'll just throw out my other random facts here while I got them. In 2002, one of the girls that he abused were found unalived by a bullet wound, and it was I'm trying to think of words that don't get me in trouble. It was self-inflicted.
Jesus.
2003, the World's Strangest Executive Coach article came out in Forbes magazine accusing him of running a cult. In 2005, he started sleeping with another 15-year-old, allegedly.
Ew.
In 2005 to 2007, he lost $66 million in trading losses that those sisters allegedly covered. 2009 was the Dalai Lama. The Vanity Fair launched an article called The Heiress and the Cult. And then in 2017...
The
Vanity Fair, yeah. In 2017, New York Times hit the topic of DOS, the inner circle of NXIVM. The recruiters are called masters and the recruiters are called slaves, and they have incriminating evidence. So... Dee, do you have anything to add? About them?
Bye-bye.
What they do? Yeah.
What do we have here? So first off, are they still active or not is the big question. Allegedly not was what I found the most. Allegedly not. While he's awaiting sentencing anyways. So in 2020, I think it was, the US government actually seized like their companies and stuff. Okay. So they now own the rights to this group, cult, whatever you'd like to call it.
You decide.
And then he was arrested in 2020, sentenced to 120 years in prison, convicted of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, attempted sex trafficking, conspiracy, forced labor conspiracy, and wire fraud conspiracy. And then etc. Because it said there were many other small ones, which it would have took a while to dig up all of those. And there was a lot of other like felonies and fraud charges just within the higher ups of the group too. But what I find mind-blowing is that his second hand, Nancy, she just got a $20,000 fine and 3 years in jail.
Fucking Nancy.
She only got a $20,000 fine and 3 years in jail.
Alison Mack only got 3 years too.
And there's a lot of people who didn't get sentenced at all, even though they were still a part of it and stuff.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it sad? Like, and then
being the mastermind, he should get more time, but they should have gotten way more time.
Well, and that's what a lot of the things that I've watching on this video is like, draws the line between victim and like perpetrator? You know, like where do you draw the line? Yeah, like those ones for sure. And like, but then and I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, but Alison Mack took full responsibility in her involvement. She was like the highest profile. For those that don't know, she was a Smallville actress.
Dude, I was devastated.
Yeah. And like,
me and my mom used to watch that all the time. Like, I was like, holy shit, when that came out, I was mind blown. I remember that in the news.
And like, so gross. Like, you're just gonna go and recruit all these young women.
The branding I find weird too.
I couldn't believe. So whenever I was reading and like just researching throughout so many things, whenever it said branded, like, I don't know why I didn't think it was physically branding their skin.
No.
And then it said that, and I was like,
physically branding.
Yeah. Like, I thought they meant like they stitched his initials, you know, like wore his brand is what I thought at first.
You're so cute.
It's just nuts.
It's darker than that. Yeah, right on their hip.
Crazy.
So they did that.
And it's supposed to be an R and an, what is it supposed to be?
It's his initials.
An R and an N?
A K and a K.
Yeah, K and R. There it is. I see it.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. What a narcissist.
And the crazy thing is that the girls, like some of them, I'm not going to speak for all of them, but the ones that have posted about it said that they thought that that was like a chakra type thing, an enlightenment, like an element type tattoo. And they were trying to find a way. And the way that they say it, I mean, when you listen to them, but it's like when you listen to these girls and you listen to the girls, like the victims, what they all say is like they were just looking for that moment and that people and that group. And that's what they did. They brought you in. We're like, this is a girls group, especially with DOS, like, you know, the inner circle of NXIVM, you know, where your job was literally to recruit 6 other women to come into this. And you had to get quote unquote collateral, just like in Scientology where they record everything.
MLM structure.
And they made it seem like structure. Cool, like join our sorority almost.
Yes.
Like
that's the worst part though, is cults, like it's classic. They always prey on those looking for community and looking for like just
the young, vulnerable
human connection, like friendships, whatever it is. And it's like the lowest of the low. Like that's what you go for. Like that is just, you have to be a really awful human being in my books to be okay with going after like the most vulnerable and not the weakest by any means, but like emotionally
their moment of vulnerability
and weakness.
Or just people looking for hope and purpose. And I think that's what all of this does is like they prey on what happens is they prey on people looking for a purpose, or they're really down on something and something's not working and they're just looking for someone needing some positivity in a group. Like, listen to this, like you're going to have all these women around you. Say you're like, I until now have never really had this group of women that I can run to and feel safe to share. And, you know, there's always been some sort of judgment or worry, or so I've never had that. So at a vulnerable type, like after my divorce, like I will say I kind of got caught up in that, where it was like a gym and I put my whole life into that gym because I didn't have anybody else. So someone approached me being like, look at all these self-improvement courses.
And sunshines.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even about, like, a lot of the girls even said it wasn't even about Keith Raniere. Like, it wasn't about that. It was about learning to be better and be accountable. And, you know, and then the other shit came. Like, it wasn't just this happened in 1 or 2 days and all of a sudden they're a sex cult. Like, that's not how these things happen. There's indoctrination over time where things like slave and master, where you're like, well, that's kind of weird, but they really love me and they're love bombing me and they're, you know, like, and not to be this way, guys, but you guys agree with me, but like out there, like I say this, but some of this MLM Instagram performance is the same way, where it's all this love bombing and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a part of this. And some, not all groups, once you get in,
the best.
they change and they're like, you're not doing what you should be doing.
Claiming cures.
Yes, or claiming all this stuff.
Whether it be mental, physical.
Yeah. And it's the same with these things. Come here and do all these courses. We've seen it with Scientology. Get to the next level. And they just literally fucking prey on people. And it's disgusting.
They grab on like a leech and it's a bitch to get them off.
And like, leave the 15-year-olds alone first off. In any kind of, like, oh my gosh.
Like, that is just why. Of course, there's that element.
It's always, there's always got to be some maps up in there.
Some creepy, it's always some sexual creepy, no matter if it's underage or not. Like, even just like a sex ring of any sort is just like, why?
What is the purpose of that? Like, yeah, absolutely. And it literally
so creepy.
It makes me sad too, because I just think about, like I said, my like vulnerable time. And then you think of some of these girls now, like think of Alison, and I'm not defending her. What she did was trash, but I'm saying like she took it there, she did. But could you imagine sitting there now and your career is ruined, your name is ruined, you know, like you're probably going to feel like shit for that for the rest of your life. Like, you know,
I just feel like shit.
100%. Like, it just
like, absolutely.
And just a $20,000 fine, million, like, oh my God, that was just a pat on the hand for her.
Yeah, what's stopping other people from doing this shit?
I can't believe that. That is
right?
So
3 years, but probably on probation for 2 of it and good to go.
Oh, I was gonna say probably house arrest for a lot of it too.
Ugh.
And it's sad when you listen to some of them too, because most of them are like the one girl, like India, like she at the beginning, she was just like, I was just so lost and I didn't know what to do, and I went to this seminar and it was great and I dragged my mom into it, and you know, it was just all about personal development and being better. And the one thing that I found in theme with these is like, as soon as you spoke out about it, they throw it back to you. Like, you're the problem. Like, oh, that must be your insecurities. So you probably want to figure out what that is.
This is okay.
Like,
this is fine. If you have a problem with it, then that's on you.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, you guys said that you're going to pay me this, but I'm getting paid this. Oh, well, you are so materialistic. You should probably figure out why you care so much about money. When it's like, those are valid questions when you sign up for something or you're doing something or a job and you're not getting paid to ask why, but they like brainwash you over time, right? It just makes me so sad. And I didn't realize, like we said, there's all these branches of it. I just thought it was like the women in the sex cult and that was it.
And it's so sad how many have like gone to people or to even their parents, whether they be like within the group or not, and like still nothing has happened, like for him like making young people have sex with him and just disgusting things like that.
Yeah, like how was that? How did it take until just the last couple of years for that all to come out? Like, I'm not sure.
Well, you know that kind of shaming runs deep and runs hard, and it does take a long time for people to speak out, which is unfortunate. But
but when they do speak out and like your mom isn't doing shit, like, ugh.
Or you're not
because she's a part of it too, and you know, just
could you imagine though? And that's, I think, the hardest part that I found about these whole aspects is cutting your whole entire family off. Like, and I think that is also another big difference between cult and religion. It's like most religions from traditional aren't cutting you off. You're allowed to keep your family if they don't have the same religion. Like maybe they frown upon you marrying outside of it. I know culturally differently, but like, you know, you don't
it's
really
very
see
much
that.
You'll still love, yeah,
isolation of
you'll
people.
still, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bring in as many people as you can, and once they're in and you're fine. But like any outsiders, it's very, like we were saying, secretive.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
they don't want the outside in. So
Exactly.
yeah, anyone that doesn't agree.
Well, because you're gonna have the Haleys of the world being like, but why?
Yeah.
But why though?
But why though?
Why is he
Why?
the greatest? Why?
And why are we
Like,
drinking this Kool-Aid? I don't quite understand.
We don't need a
Who the fuck
volunteer
is
for
Vanguard?
sacrifice.
Like-
We're gonna choose
No,
her.
It's just like, I volunteer as
ridiculous.
tribute.
Yeah, take me. Fuck.
Yeah.
No,
That's
I
so
don't.
crazy.
It's. I don't know. I feel like the cults all have the same basis.
Yeah.
It is the devotion to something. It's the manipulation.
Yeah.
And it always seems, unfortunately, in my opinion, to come back somehow to money. There's always like you have to give all your money
And sex.
to like. Well,
Most.
yeah. There, and then I guess that is the fourth like lingering. Sometimes it doesn't, like
That's what I thought was
Scientology
interesting.
did, but it
Yeah.
wasn't based on that. Like it did have its sexual abuse like layer to it, but like it wasn't like a part of it. Where this was like a part of it.
Yeah,
Like they were
fair.
recruiting. Like it was like almost like a prostitute ring in some cases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's just all
That
these
was the
girls
recruiting
branded.
MLM. Get girls
Yeah,
instead
and,
of
like you
like.
get branded instead of tattooed. Like I don't know. Like it's just I just found that part really like no.
And
That
I find-
you would have lost me before that, but that would have been hard. Like
Yeah.
no,
No.
I'm good.
I feel like there's
Bye.
like kind of different aspects. It's either like you're free to do some of the things, like where it's like with the sex stuff, it's like this one is like forced. This was 100% not wanted, not needed. Some of them I think did have maybe an infatuation before, but
Yeah.
I think that there's a difference between having an infatuation and having like it being okay to sleep with him and know that 30
Yeah.
other people are sleeping with him. Like that is a very different.
I feel like it was one
Line.
of those worshop things, though. Like
Yes,
Yeah,
they
that's-
it
saw
was.
him as like, oh my god, he's like.
I want to be his main
prophet.
bitch.
He is, yeah, I want to be like. Hopefully like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's creepy though,
Yeah.
but there's tons of other like I'd say they're religions, but in my mind they're cults too. Like the LDS and like all of those that like there's something weird and always comes back to like one guy wanting like 1,800 wives. Or
Mhm.
Yeah,
wanting,
what is
like,
that
the
about?
Run of the fucking like
That's
herd,
exhausting.
so to say. Like,
But then
you
too,
take your pick. You're like it's gross.
what's that? Sister Wives or whatever?
I was just
That
gonna
we,
say it's
like,
gonna be the new
watch
of
it
that,
on
and there's like
TV.
12,000.
Yeah, like I just where, but like we put it on
They live in their
TV.
own city, for Christ's sakes.
They
Like,
are
how
gonna
would you
have their own
house?
city?
Like, I'm surprised actually. Like, they were just
Battle of the
facilities and like places you go to like better yourself, right? Like, they
Yeah.
didn't have like communes. Like,
No.
you lived on your own.
Yeah.
Yes,
Whereas like Scientology had a lot of like
compounds.
encampments or like compounds or like the Sea
Churches.
Org, which is a whole fucking boat.
Yeah,
They just had like
Whole fucking
places where
boat.
people lived and worked and dedicated their life to it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is more, I feel like you got more of an independent life kind of because you did
Yes.
live in your house and stuff. Like it wasn't a weird like let's all go wear robes and live in the bush. type
and
Yeah.
that's
shit.
where I think people
but-
got tripped out more. It was like you could
Yeah.
go move to Albany and be around everybody, and there was people that did that.
Mexico,
But they're
LA,
Mexico, yeah, but
hell.
exactly. But there's different places, and that wasn't like a requirement.
Yeah.
But like there was different secrets within them, like the DOS part, where it's just like that was a secret, hand-picked women. And
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
other thing too that like we didn't really bring up, but a lot of the stuff, like especially in the women in DOS, they were very restricted on what they could and could not do. Like they
yeah.
were not eating more than like 500 to 1,000 calories. Like they're very sickly, they're very weak. They were very told what they could and could not do. They were again calling their masters and slaves. Like that all starts to do something to a person. It starts to break you down. Like I
Mhm.
just can't even imagine. Like no
The
one
first
is
thing I
ever
thought
making
of
me
was,
call
But
my
cult or
master.
not, like
how creepy
Yeah.
it is and how like to me that is just fulfills one of those like it's like you see it all over in porn. It's just one of those creepy fetishes to
yeah,
like dominate people
Literally.
and own people and like I just like I get that it's a mental like that is in my like that's psychiatric shit.
Mhm.
Oh
But then
yeah.
there's Nancy Salzman, who is a psychiatric nurse who knows how
I
to fucking
know,
break
and a
people,
hypnotist,
knows
right?
how
Like,
to like knows how to like I don't know, get people to the brink of like, they'll do anything. They're weak, they're fucking hungry, they have to pee, they're dirty, like
they haven't slept. They do
conditions.
They do these like trainings. I'm trying to find it.
It's almost like torture. Like it's them trying to torture them to submission.
What was the word? Readiness drills. So they perform readiness drills, and this is what the masters would do to their slaves. No. And basically, you have to have your phone on you, and when your master texts you, you have like 30 seconds or a minute, whatever it was, to get back to them, and if not, you got punished. Things like that. So they do that readiness drills to wear you out, so you're not sleeping and you're just really worn down. But all this stuff is supposed to be helpful.
It's like a very awful 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
Like, this guy, it's not like some sexy.
I was even gonna say like
doing this. It's like I didn't realize that it was like, yeah, you're at home sitting there like, you will come to me. It's like, Christ
again.
But that's what I mean.
It's my turn.
Like, oh really? Yeah. Like it's just,
like I'm done.
Is it not Susie's turn?
Right? That's where you, especially if I'm at home, you're losing me. I'm not. No, bro. I'm comfortable in my fucking sweats. Leave me alone.
But also, like,
the other bitches. Like,
what does that have to do with my personal development and enlightenment? This is what I don't get, right? Like, so it makes me sad because these weren't stupid people. These aren't, they're really smart.
I feel
women.
like at that point, there's no way they're still buying the self-help. I feel like the self-help stops after you're in the shitty sex part of it.
Yeah.
Like,
once you're already fully indoctrinated.
Would you like to come do a detox? Just kidding. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Then they wouldn't be. Like, then they'd be gone, right? They have to be
Like they don't
thinking like it's okay. I guess.
I think once you reach that point, it is very much like you are
it's just
here.
Your normal.
I wouldn't assume that they can't live on their own. There's no way. I feel like you would run away. Like they have to live supervised almost, or like they probably have some form of supervision because there's no way.
They probably do have their little cabin in the woods everywhere. There, everybody there.
Seriously. Like
I think they mentally trap them. Like if you think of like abusers in relationships, right? And you're not going to make it without me. You're exactly. And even just Keith Raniere, he was just supposedly just very charismatic. And you know, if you really believed that, and everyone believed, and they were sold. Same thing with like Scientology, that he had the key to the world. He had the key to enlightenment. He knew everything, and it was really.
And they're charming. They have that like Jeffrey Dahmer-esque, like everyone likes you. You just got a good personality.
Yeah.
You
So it's
a lot about cults and leaders and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so great though.
Yes, and so I heard he was like the Tony. It was like almost a Tony Robbins, but like, but with that motivational, you know what I mean. We think of him differently now, but think before you like woke up about things. But
that's what I mean.
At the end of the day,
he is a good speaker. He speaks well and like intelligently and smart.
So he picked up all these ideas from all of these people and like put them into this NXIVM, and it wasn't even called that. It was called ESP. You know, like anybody that's in it, they didn't call it NXIVM. They called it ESP. They called it all other things. Like that's not what it was. It was like a school, like an education place where you learned shit. I don't even know. Because I can't be a part of it. It's closed now. Everyone's in jail. Just kidding. But what
closed
I found
allegedly.
Interesting. Allegedly, and this is allegedly a.
There's there's still speculation that they have meetings via Telegram.
Dude,
there's definitely some WhatsApp. What are those called?
Group chats.
Yeah, things just with VPN things. I can't. Yeah.
There's no way. That would be ridiculous.
I don't think so.
I could see it though. Like, there's no way it's shut down.
Probably still a couple. There's got to be a few like mentally ill people who want it to keep going.
Probably
behind the scenes action for sure.
I'm gonna share this because I keep trying to, but I disconnected my mouse, so I'm really struggling here. But we're gonna try and share this article. That I'm gonna read. It's like
almost a form of. It is 100% a form of human trafficking as well. Like.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, like they're recruiting women to like it's
levels. Definitely. Okay, so this article I found from the Rolling Stones. So it says I'm trying to break her. Former NXIVM sex cult member details misogynistic methods of control. So just a couple notes I want to read here and practice this screen sharing for you guys. So the leader of NXIVM ran an all-male fraternity that allowed women into the curriculum and used horribly demeaning tactics to humiliate them, according to testimony from a former member of the inner circle of the group. During the trial, Keith Raniere, who's facing 7 criminal counts, including racketeering, wire fraud, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, Mark Vicente, sorry, I probably screwed your name, a member of the NXIVM Inner Circle and de facto videographer of the group for more than a decade, testified about his experience as one of the founding members of the head of the Council of Society of Protectors, one of the many companies under the NXIVM
One of the
umbrella,
many.
which operated as sort of a fraternity for male members. Founded in 2011, Society of Protectors, or SOP for short.
I feel like
Guys,
that's the creepy, like...
What is with these acronyms?
Bros club that uses
like,
all
why don't you
girls.
just say
like,
Society of Protectors? It's not like it's that long.
Like, SOP. Like, for short, was founded as a male equivalent of Jeunesse, that's an all-female group within NXIVM, on top of DOS. They charge $5,000 a pop for an 8-day workshop. The goal of the group, testified, was to build character among male members and help turn members from little boys into men. As a part of the group, members of SOP were required to perform readiness drills in which one leader of the group would send a text asking if the others were ready, and all would be required to respond immediately. The idea of the readiness drill, which required members to be on alert 24/7, was to prepare the men in cases of emergency, such as if a member was missing, though there was only one instance, whatever his name could recall, when that actually happened. The idea was leave no man behind. So they were also supposed to provide collateral. Members of SOP were also required to provide collateral to help them achieve their goals, such as recruiting new members.
God.
He said he would pay the group as much as $1,500 as a form of collateral. If you said the thing you said you do, you'd get the money back. If you don't, you lose it, he testified. Both collateral and readiness drills were also used by NXIVM leaders and all-female secret sorority DOS to keep group members in line, according to last week's testimony from Sylvia, former DOS member.
So they take all your money, and hold it and tell you that you don't get it back unless you do.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, and collateral is graphic naked photos or embarrassing testimonials. So
something they can like blackmail you with also.
So they're getting like news off of these girls and
Well, yeah, I read that too, is that they will blackmail them into staying and whatnot too.
That should be like a charge as well. Like that's
it
like
is.
I know. Like how he only got
soliciting. It's like creating and soliciting porn, or like not soliciting, but like that's just gross.
Yep, and in 2013, Raniere decided he wanted to open up the SOP curriculum to female members of NXIVM, duping the new course SOP Complete. Although Vicente, name, testified that he initially had concerns about opening up the group to women, he later relented when female members of NXIVM's Inner Circle spoke with him and they wanted to take the class. Those concerns turned out to have been justified, however, when Raniere introduced SOP Complete to group members by telling them the primary tenets of the group, that the women lacked discipline, were entitled, and were misusing their sexuality to gain an advantage in the world.
Oh my God.
Like, this guy did not love women. The goal of the curriculum was very misogynist. The goal of the curriculum was, which was authored by Raniere, was to give women the experience of being a little boy in a man's world, or to essentially tease and bully them until they were forced to grow up and assume responsibility for their actions. We're going to help them find themselves and push them the same way you were pushed.
So you can tell he's degrading as hell and probably was like disgusting towards these women.
Yeah.
It was used as more of a boot camp and using hazing and other military inspired tactics, such as forcing group members to do penance for misdeeds in the form of planks or wall sits. SOP Complete instructors also used props such as fairy wings to humiliate female members into submission.
Oh, God.
All I can see is the word jockstrap.
Yeah, me too. I was just looking at...
Okay, I'll read that. I wasn't going to, but at one point, Claire Brofman, one of the twins, the billionaire Seagram Hires, who had at this point assumed a central role in NXIVM, was given a jockstrap for being too bossy, according to Vicente. Raniere also suggested that the male group members take photographs of the women if they were dressing provocatively and then make a video slideshow to humiliate them.
That's disgusting. So yeah, they're just he was a very, very incredibly misogynistic man.
Yeah. He's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't like the specific on humiliation. Like that's so awful.
Yep. It said when asked by the prosecution how he felt about his involvement in the group, Vicente paused and took a breath before answering the question. I feel ashamed. His voice was wavering. To see that I was basically enforcing this kind of really dark, hateful misogyny was so deeply upsetting. He later said that he thought the group had left a lasting impact on the female members, as well, referring to them as shells of themselves, and something inside of them had been gone.
Many are seeing
I
therapists.
wouldn't even say shells. Like, they
I
just killed every ounce of humanity in those girls. I guarantee you.
A lot are not okay. Or that's why they still don't get it, because they're either just like too far gone, or they don't want to, or they gotta like, I don't know, snap out of it, you know?
That's like, I find the worst. Like, he just wanted to break them down.
Yeah.
Like, it was nothing but a power trip and like a control thing.
Yep, absolutely. And this part here I wanted to flag as well. So it said one of the first major red flags for Vicente was NXIVM's obsession with weight loss and dieting, which former DOS member Sylvie had also testified to last week. Around 2015, he said, I began to see a lot of women becoming rail thin, like their skin was translucent, adding that many of these women would eat one particular food item all the time, such as a cucumber or squash, to the point that their fingers were turning the color of their food.
Which sounds like no nutrients.
No nutrients. Some female members told Vicente that a form of penance, they would cut their food intake down to 500 or 300 calories a day. I thought something was not right. One of the biggest concerns was with Alison Mack, the former Smallville actress who was a member of the NXIVM Inner Circle and served as master in DOS, which Mack pleaded guilty to racketeering and racketeering conspiracies in April of this year. At a certain point, Mack had lost so much weight that Vicente had said Raniere to discuss his concerns with him, telling him that Mack looked broken. And according to Vicente, Raniere's response was simply, he said, I'm trying to break her. And we'll leave that at that.
Boom.
That's what I mean. Like that.
What?
I feel like the whole mental breaking them, just mental breakdown of these women, like Nancy should have gotten way more fucking time.
Oh, yeah, that's why I said it's the most mind-blowing fact I found.
all of that information, where Raniere got that is her 1000%.
Yeah.
She should have gotten the equivalent, if not maybe like 80 years or 100 years, maybe not the full 120s.
Even like, half 60.
Seeing that, like, that is full. That was her. I'm sorry. That was her 100%.
Like, she probably.
And that's a Ghislaine and Jeffrey situation here. Like,
sorry.
Or maybe she even convinced him to do shit. Like,
who knows?
Right?
Like,
but there's
she could have been a
registered psychiatric nurse and hypnotist and neuro-linguistic, whatever the hell. Like, that is a smart woman.
Yeah.
She knows
and he's
wrong.
Smart. He's smart. And he went to all these different things.
Well, they did it for so long.
Yeah. And they did it for so long. And he probably just spun his shit. You know, people who can speak shit all the time. Yeah. You're smart. You can speak
politicians.
Charles Manson was a charismatic, like, not well-spoken as in like super intelligent, but well-spoken man. Like, people loved him. Bundy, like, they know what they're doing to the point that they know, they're like used car salesmen. They know how to talk. They've got the charisma. Like, that to me is scary.
And they're selling an amazing thing. It's not like they're selling like, oh, by the way, come to my sex cult where I'm going to convince you to brand yourself. Like, some of these women never even had tattoos, but the idea that I was trying to say earlier is what was sold, again, that sisterhood. How this wasn't about Keith. They weren't like, hey, we're going to brand his initials. It was, hey, we're a group and how are we going to solidify this? I have tattoos with friends that I'm not friends with anymore. I have those permanently marked on my body.
But some were like forcefully pinned down to get it.
Like,
some didn't want it.
Like,
no, I agree
because
with
like
that too.
you could probably convince me of that right now. Like, to go get a small brand. Like, I've got tattoos. I know the pain of that. Like, you do a quick little like the stuff on Yellowstone when they get branded on their chest. Like, how big that is. Like, that big, I feel like would be like gnarly pain. But like, you get a little one, or like that.
On an episode of Jackass,
people that it wouldn't be.
Someone's ass.
Like, I just. I
can
not
see
far off.
No, and so it's like the ones that wanted to, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Or they held people down and was like, you need to do this. And they're like, well, I need to do it because you're in it. Like, it's so easy to sit on the outside and say, you know, like, how did you not? But anybody can be in a bad friendship, a bad job.
And you don't want to lose that sisterhood, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Toxicity comes in all forms.
It does. And this is, you know, again, people at a vulnerable time that are being sold a new life, a better world. I can help you. And it's like, you want to believe people are good. I hate thinking that
Yeah.
everyone's trash. I don't want to think that. That's terrible. I mean,
my innate
lately,
feeling and like way of thinking is people are good. Like I
Yes.
always give the benefit of the doubt. Like I hate thinking that people are so twisted and evil. Like it's just,
Danielle's like,
so
fuck that.
gross.
They lost me.
I'm like a bit of a negative Nancy over here sometimes, but
I don't know.
It depends.
We go
I
through
want to-
cycles.
I
It's a
want
process.
to trust people. Do I? No, I don't
But,
at all.
yeah.
But like, I want to believe that. Not like it's just crazy to me that people are this fucked up and like this, like
I know,
like mentally negative and unhinged and just want to cause harm to people.
Yeah,
Like,
but
can we just
generally
all live
think
in peace, please?
I
Like,
wonder, do they
jeez.
actually think, are they that
No.
narcissistic that they think they are a prophet or a god? Like when we talk like about to Raminder about human design and talking about Justin Trudeau and him living
I
his
was
design.
just gonna say,
In her mind, in his mind, you know, reading the human design, he is doing what he thinks is right. We could be yelling at him that he's wrong, but he is so in himself.
The last 3 years, how many people do we know that just they thought what they were saying and telling people and doing was right,
or got brainwashed even more, and good luck getting them
Did I not share
out.
that thing the other day? How many people got the shot willingly? It was like 7%.
Oh,
for
for
personal
sure,
choice, yeah,
1000%.
For personal choice, and like the two top were work
travel
requirements and travel requirements. Like people thought they were doing what they're supposed to and what they're doing good. That's the worst part is like people like Trudeau and like Raniere, they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're
it's
so
like
convinced.
A mental
ego
broken on
I don't
the
know.
inside.
They don't
Ego,
have
like,
that.
Whatever.
and
like,
almost like selfish to
right.
the point where like they don't even realize or care. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
it's weird.
they're so self-absorbed and like so like
look at
like
I'm doing.
It's like L. Ron Hubbard too. Like he was so convinced that Dianetics was going to save people, and like the Xenu bullshit story. Like they're just so like blinders on to their cause, and so like
literally a whole other reality.
On it. I'm doing good. Like it's just so weird. But I'm sure that there are some like I think David Miscavige is one of those that like
took it too
he
far.
also knows that he's screwed up.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
He knows
he knows. Yeah, he definitely
I don't think
knows.
Raniere believes.
No, he still doesn't believe.
I don't know. Like
I don't think he does. He to this day said that these women did everything that they wanted to. His lawyer still claims these women were not forced to do any of this. It doesn't matter what the courts have said. It doesn't matter if
even outside the court, he still had a bunch of girls dancing and like
it's like complete delusion.
We miss you, Keith.
Are we looking at the same man? Are we looking at the same man?
He's not good looking either.
Like this is no Ian Smolderholder here. This is fucking.
I was gonna say, bring me Channing Tatum.
Yeah, I was gonna say Channing.
No Bundy.
Yeah.
But like that, I'm not following that nowhere.
No.
Sorry.
No. And I understand intellectual minds, but there's got to be a little bit of something. Like even what's his name?
James. Or
what's his name off of Criminal Minds? The nerdy guy. Of a Criminal Minds.
There's so many better options. Like, why would you have, like, no?
Spencer off of Criminal Minds.
Okay, yeah. Like anyone.
Super nerdy, but like you're adorable. Love it.
Give me anyone over him. Like
it's
so
wild.
Brutal.
And I feel bad because again, not excusing them, but it's like all these people start off with such good intentions, and I think the biggest reason I want to bring up this cult aspect this month kind of is to like show how easy and everyday people can get manipulated into doing or saying or acting or building themselves an echo chamber to the point where it does damage. Because like
think about because you may be involved or have been involved or know someone doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Nope. It just goes to show how deep the manipulation is, that like it can get anyone at your most vulnerable point.
We've given a lot of real life examples.
And I'll say, like, I'm going to say, and I'll say this before, and I've said it on the show before, like, I was dragged into 3 MLMs on the same the same idea of you're going to make a ton of money. I'm going to change your life. I'm going to be your best friend. Look at this.
You're going to barely work.
We all have each other. Yes.
My mom was a part of one back in like
terrible.
the 80s or 90s when it was still called like Ponzi scheme and like pyramid scheme. Like,
I still call it pyramid scheme.
Nice and pretty dressed up as an MLM yet.
Yes. It didn't have new wording, right? And it's like, again, I'm sure MLM started in a good space and there are a lot of good ones. But again, there's a lot of behavior like this. I was a victim to 3 times. I used to sell Avon and that was fun. No one, I just put in my order because I wanted my discounts and people would like put in with me, but it was no recruiting. It was no selling it. It was just like, I got a book. You want to order? Because I get discounts.
Yeah, I
Right?
did that with
And
Arbonne. I was convinced once, which I just paid like the $20 fee, and like, Frank, I was really young, so my plan was like, oh, maybe I will sell, but I'm just way too lazy. I'm too big of a procrastinator. It never worked out. And I've thought about other ones like a couple years ago too, and then I was like, I'm too fucking lazy for this shit. Like, I can't.
It's a lot more work. And I think what
is.
it is like the reason why there's comparisons is because sometimes some of them use the same tactics where they love bomb and you see this group of women that are going to support you. And if you're like me that didn't have that growing up, it's like I've been craving that my whole life. So I understand. Yeah, like, and we have
or the
that
constant
now, so
stability,
grateful,
which some, if you're at the top, make a lot, but like,
so
and they use that.
This is our new sales pitch for our new cult. That's the 4 of us. It's very small.
Yeah.
But we keep each other good, and we're all about
the Be Real cult
here at the Be Real cult.
The Be Real cult, collective cult. We're all about emojis and goal tracking.
We'll do an episode on us, cult or not.
Yeah. You guys just know if we're acting that way. I mean, I feel like we let you guys question us. I feel like,
It's one of those things though, like I was the same as you, B. I did not have that growing up. I have a lot of girlfriends, but I never had that
that group
bond,
I would get invited to the big groups, and like when there's parties I was friends, but I was that person that was friends with kind of everybody in all walks of life, which was who I am now. And I used to hate myself, not to like spear here, but kind of, because this all kind of ties in. I used to always think that I was the weird one, and that why didn't anybody want to be close to me, and why didn't I have those 6 girlfriends that were like the cheerleaders that all
I swear it's like together. The nice actual genuine people, because people just know they can be taken advantage of. So that's why I had to like bing, 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 just too many people in my life.
Very awkward and like not, I was just weird when I was a teenager and that young too. So like, I feel like everyone, you're growing up, you're figuring stuff out. Like I had tons of friends too, but I didn't have like, I was always like the auxiliary friend on the outside, or like,
I was hanging with my boyfriend and his friends. And then, it was a big party, but I wasn't invited to like the girls' nights, or I don't have those girls now where I go to get married, like now, but like, if me and Grant got married a year ago, I'd probably look around and be like, all right, Kay. They're not saying that, but like, you lose touch and life changes. And I shared that, like, we have friends for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But what I'm saying is that I'm that vulnerable person that if a group of girls that are amazing are like, I'm going to support you, you're amazing, you're beautiful. And I'm not saying they don't mean it. I would do a lot for those people. I have.
Yeah.
I did, like I said, I did that in the past for the gym. I gave everything to it. And then when that got taken away, I was nobody. I lost all my friends there. I lost my income. I couldn't train as a fitness instructor anymore. I lost a lot. And I was like, wow, not saying that was a cult behavior, but I did. I ignored everything, and everything was put into this one focus. And everything else didn't matter. No one could tell me otherwise. This is why we're saying it's not just religious. It can be you doing it to yourself and creating an echo chamber and not listening to anyone with a relationship, with friendships. Like that's what it was. It was a friendship that I was like being told this is toxic. And I was like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's the thing though. That's how they get you too, is like, that's
they
why
make it feel so real.
Any of these cults is because it is very much that, like, they don't know what they're talking about. This is the best, like,
love bomb.
Don't talk to anyone. Don't like,
we know what's best for you. Yeah, we're gonna do
and even think of the MLMs. Like a lot of them are so like brainwashed and convinced that their product and their business is the best until they start digging and find out other shit, and they're like, oh well, I was lied to, and
Yep. It's so sad. Did you notice that everyone's kind of having that in different ways of their lives? Like mine was birth control, and now it's like I question everything. And now I feel like some of those women that are so, it sucks. Like for example, on a sidebar, Dr. John Campbell, to go around this kind of cult behavior, he was very pro.
He was very
pro. He wasn't pushy, but he was very pro, and he pissed me off. Yeah. But I was like, I'm gonna keep watching him because I like how he's delivering his information.
His information.
Now we've literally watched him learn that everything that he's probably been taught his whole life has been a fucking lie. And it is devastating.
But he was
to watch.
So genuine and authentic about it, though, and it's like it's very real to watch his cognitive dissonance kind of like disappear. He's wading his way through it like, holy crap, all right, like
this is where I'm at. But to watch it, to me, it's like, okay, there is, I'm not saying school is a cult, but I'm saying that people can focus in on an ideology or a thought of who they are and what life should be. And there's no questioning it.
It encompasses everything.
Everything. You lose friends, you lose yourself in it. And I think so many of us can relate to that.
Or and getting big, you know, trying to live the American dream.
Keeping up with the Joneses. And all of that, right? And so it's like you can lose yourself in this false identity. And I think that's what happens here is that people are like, I don't know who I am. But who these people say that they are or want to be, I'm into that. Let's do that. Fuck yeah. People are always saying, go for it. You know, and then turns around and it's this. And it doesn't happen overnight, y'all. These women were in here for 6 to 7 years.
Yeah. It's grooming.
It's grooming.
It's a very slow
over time
grooming process.
Right? And so it's like, it's happened to all of us, I'm sure, at some points, whether that's a job that you stayed in for far too long because you were so like, you know, maybe not like in a cult way, but so dedicated and this had to be it. I picked this job. I've worked so hard at this company. I have to make it work. You know, there's a very locked in mentality that we all can get into. And I think all of us at some
tunnel
point,
vision, blinders,
are susceptible to stuff like this, you know? It doesn't just happen overnight. Look at the Scientology. They slowly
and undervaluing ourselves is a big thing.
This one's quite young though, like a lot younger than Scientology, which is crazy. Like it's only
came in and fizzled and
98 to like it did not last.
They had a good run
from the 50s, right? So
well, and I think the amount too, right? You're talking like, you know, maybe 25,000 overall if the world over time where Scientology was what at one point and had a ton of people.
Massive.
And it was like I left the door open and now the cats are in here and I made a bad decision, guys. So we might hear a cat fight here in a second. But right. I think the biggest theme that I found through all of this is that a lot of it happens slowly and to people that like were just, like I said, in a vulnerable moment. So like my thing is, I just want everyone to stop and just evaluate the people in your life a little bit better. Not to be rude, but now it's like if someone's approaching me and sliding into my DMs and hasn't talked to me for a little bit and it's immediately like, hey, this product. I don't know what to say to that. It sucks
red
in a
flag.
sense. Yeah.
Red
I even actually,
flag,
I said something the other day. I was like, if someone says red flag, they're a red flag. No, but honestly, it just makes me question now. And it's because I've had all these experiences and I'm very grateful that I had these because I learned what it was like to be gaslit. I learned what it's like. I understand what a virtual signaler is. I understand what manipulation is now. These women said that they never understood this kind of stuff. They didn't understand cults like this. They thought cults were like the Ben's Jonestown or whatever the heck it's called, where they drank all the Kool-Aid.
The hippie commune.
The hippie commune. That's what she figured. She did not think that lived in something. Sacrifices, like wild shit, not
It does, though. They're definitely putting makeup on a pig, and they do it pretty well because they sell everything as self-help. It's always to improve yourself, to better yourself, to help your mind state of mind, to your physical, your whatever you want to improve. Like they prey upon the most vulnerable because first our society tells us that you're not good enough and we're like awful and disgusting, and they put you through the ringer, and then you get offered like, hey, come,
there's a solution,
we'll help.
Yep.
Like it's like the lowest of the low. I hate that.
I know.
Yep, I hate it too. And it's like, couldn't you just exist without recruiting? Couldn't you just resist, like, exist without having like people to go out there and get them?
So you guys said your MLMs you were a part of. Mine's like awful and embarrassing, but I don't sell it and people wouldn't know that I purchased from them if I didn't tell you because I'm not weird and I'm not selling shit because I'm not a salesman and I cannot do it to save my life. But I buy from the wellness. I buy from Luca.
Yeah.
But
I've looked into it. I've semi-signed up and then just not purchased.
I actually don't mind their products in the sense that they send you a bottle of concentrate for the price of like the actual bottle at the store.
Well, and
a
lot are a lot safer and healthier and stuff.
They do remove some chemicals, not all of them. They're very greenwashed, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I was like, I just shared
them in a while, but
I just shared something and I took it down because I didn't want to incite violence on my Instagram the other day. But it's
the amount of people I see hawking that product though, and have made it like the fact that I see people selling it like Mary Kay, Avon, Arbonne.
Yeah.
To me, it solidifies the fact that like no, it's an MLM. It is what it is. And I don't.
If it was actually such a great this and that, like, why would you need the multi-level marketing?
I feel like
you know what I mean?
I feel like they do it in a way where you don't have to sell, because there's a lot of them where like you have like you can purchase, but like to have an account or to be like a member or whatever, you have to like sign up to like some level of like marketing and selling. Where this one, the only downfall is you get like a backup box if you don't purchase every month, which some of the stuff I've gotten is pretty decent, but I don't like all of it. I don't use any of their beauty products or skincare or anything. Like, it's crap, but
I think my biggest beef with that is like, do whatever you want, sell whatever you want, but just like informed and don't shove it down people's throats, and don't act like your products are above everyone else. Like, I'm not trying to be that way, but everyone says the same thing. And now I have many different people a part of different ones, and what am I supposed to say? Well, who's better than you? You're selling two of these things, or you're actually selling two of the same products. Which one is actually better for you? Because I'm a little confused here, right? So it's like, it's not trying to be rude, but like places like Arbonne have been caught greenwashing. Melaleuca has been known for greenwashing, and there are different
Monet. There's no way that shit is vegan and 100% natural when it fried my hair off.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, I was a part of Hemworks
mascara
too. Yeah, Unique.
Or like Amway Global.
Yes. Like, that they got sued. They're all, you know what I mean? It's like, and again, it's like, sell what you want to sell. Sell what you want to sell.
But that's our point here too.
But yeah, like, what? Sorry, go ahead. You get what's our
point? Oh, what you were saying is that's like our main point is obviously we're sidetracking a little.
I know we are
with the MLMs.
Just kidding. No,
but that's our
it's this
point
false. It's the falsehood, the false sailing.
Exactly.
So I have no problem with people having a belief system or having a religion or a community or an MLM, none of those things. What I have a problem with is the false lies of like, I'm going to be able to give you this, which you can't, and you're not allowed to. False hope on both ends. The I'm better than everybody else and nobody else is better. Again, either products or companies versus like Raniere and like NXIVM. Like, NXIVM's not the only self-help development shit, right? So like, you know, it's this like, I'm better than everyone, I know more than everyone, don't talk to anybody else, you're the enemy. The worship aspect, I don't like that, this false narrative online of who I'm pretending to be. And I'm sorry, enough calls have been released, we know what you do. It's make yourself look like you're fake it till you make it, you look great, not everyone, so don't come to me. And then people
fake it till you make it.
Well, and then people are sold this lifestyle of, if I quit my 9 to 5 and I go to this, I'm going to live easy. My life's going to be easy. There's no hardships. I'm not on board with that.
Lots of money.
Don't sell that life. That's bullshit. Be honest and say what actually is going on. That's why I respect Brooke so fucking much. Why I brought her on the show to talk about that episode. I think it was 91, or maybe that's the Pedo Island, around 90. And I can hear my cats.
Yeah, I love that episode.
And and it was really great because I love the way that Brooke does it. She's like, these are my products.
The honesty.
This is what I sell. She doesn't say she's better than anybody. She just like, this is what I do and this is how I sell and this is my model. And I fucking respect that. What I don't love is all these people selling these fake ideas and then people quitting their jobs, putting everything into it and losing out. And that's what happens with these cults. Same idea. They're sold. So I'm not saying that they're same thing. I'm saying
your whole life gets wrapped up in it. And it's just like anything. A complete life crushing, like, kind of situation where I
was in that in the fitness industry. That's where my head was at. It was like nothing else mattered. I had to be teaching. I had to be focused on that. It didn't matter anything else in my life. It didn't matter if it was unhealthy that I was like 100 pounds and teaching 5-6 days a week
100%
and not eating properly.
Health. They prey on the mental health. Like, I seriously, Nancy deserved more time. Like, that's
she deserves more time. She is a trash pan.
Yeah, if we have one conclusion after tonight.
Yeah, and the more I've heard, just that bitch should go to jail.
I know.
Yes.
Go
Way
right
longer
to jail.
than 3 years. Never,
Like,
do not pass go. You do not collect $200.
It's funny, if Nick was here, he'd know exactly the meme I'm talking about. The skit, go right to jail. Like, seriously, get, like, frig, man. It's so terrible.
It is.
That she got that little time when this whole, like, all cults are, but in my opinion, this specific group was based on mental degradation, mental breakdown, mental, like, just bringing you to your brink. Like,
yes,
that is
and the DOS was made up of women that he liked. The idea was finding women. You had to find women, and those 6 women found other 6 women for him to sleep with him, to be with him, but
that
be a part
like
of
an
this.
Epstein game right
That's
there.
what I'm saying. That's a jizz stain and like same.
And
whatever the fuck.
Diseases galore.
Oh shit! My cat's found a golf ball upstairs.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no! Well, that's the perfect time to end the episode. So guys, NXIVM, cult or not? I'm voting yes.
Cult.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely cult.
I mean, it's everywhere.
There wasn't even a question about this one at all.
Not even a question.
No.
And it's not even that it was a sex cult, like, to begin with. And
Yeah,
not always, not all
literally.
of them, not everybody, but
that was
majority
that
of
was
it.
a decent one to.
That
I
was
think
the
that's
core
like
unit.
the most recent and popular and very sex specific.
Yeah, and like just arrested. Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because we just said in the last one with Scientology that it wasn't necessarily like sex based. Like obviously that's a part of it, but not based. Where it's like I think it's like it's
this
either
one was
based, and it was like almost like you're forced into it, or you're just in this commune where everybody does it. You know, like there's 2 ways to that. It's like you're part of a thing where everyone just sleeps with everyone and they are all happy.
They had the 2 levels, the self-help, and then once you made it up to this, you're now into like the dirty version
trapped
of
almost.
Yes.
Yeah, you're trapped into the disgusting part of it.
Right up to the top of the pyramid, right to Keith. Like, gross.
Right to the yucky.
But you guys do your research. There is so much out there.
A lot of shows, a lot of books.
There's a lot of shows. This is just our opinion on stuff that we've read. You want to know deeper?
Yeah.
There's The Vow. There's so many books out there. Literally just put
personal testimonies.
Yeah, a good one.
The Vow is a really good one. Sarah Edmondson has, I think, a podcast where she goes through everything. I think she wrote a book as well. But there's tons out there, guys. On the Edge is another podcast YouTube that I love watching. He talks about so much, a lot of this stuff actually, and he was the one that had Scientology, Aaron Levin Smith, and then one of the NXIVM girls, and they compared the differences and the similarities where, you know, like just like where she was like, oh, is the Sea Org the DOS? And it's like, well, no, not really, because Sea Org was, everyone knew about the Sea Org, and it was like an honor, where the DOS was like a very secretive, don't tell anybody,
and it was
keep
not
this to
an
yourself.
honor.
And it was not an honor. Well, like, I think they.
The worst part is they
was.
probably saw it as an honor.
Yes,
but
because it was a
not an
sisterhood, right? It was all these. It was a women for women, but for Keith, you know, and that was the piece that was missing. So, yeah, so gross, guys. So we got 2 more episodes coming up of more cults. I'm excited to finish. I'm excited to finish so I can go back to watching Superstore at nighttime before bed. So
not dreaming about them anymore.
The next 2 are kind of interesting, though. I feel like the next 2 are more religion.
They are definitely more religion based,
So
and
it'll be interesting to dive into.
Yeah, and I think those ones aren't as necessarily mainstream as these ones have been. Like, they're just kind of like, they're there. They have some celebrities in there. They have some ties to Canada in there, but not as big as these. And one thing I will say about NXIVM is that there are a couple quote unquote survivors that are saying a lot of these other survivors are just trying to make money, and that's not how they remember things. And sure, maybe that was your experience, but you don't get to take away the other people's experience and say that didn't happen to you.
Exactly.
You're still living in the delusion. That's fine. But like, they woke up, and that's not fair of you to take that away from them.
Yeah. And that really upset me that she was saying that, they're just using it for money. Like, no, a lot of these women were already like well off or finding their way, or smart women that would have made their own,
or had already come out about it, and now just that it's out there so much, now they're making money,
and it's over, and
they deserve that money. Fuck that shit.
They deserve
Total
that fucking money.
Yeah,
sure. I agree, D. They deserve that money after all that shit. Like, that's the least. If you're not going to pay them and you're not going to do your time, like, these women at least need to make money off of that and teach other women what this means, right? So, guys, awesome second I mean, third episode, but second cult episode. Thank
Yes.
you guys so much. Follow us, Rumble, Instagram, social media,
Give us some likes.
YouTube. I'm like, where are we even live? Any of that shit,
Thumbs
guys.
up.
We will see you until our next cult episode. Hopefully I make it to it and I don't die.
Bye.
Thank you guys for stopping by the show today. We appreciate you so much. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, make sure to show us some love on our Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest page, the Be Real Babe Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channels, like those episodes, and turn on the notification bells. You can find our video version of the show on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify, or you can catch the audio version on Apple and Google Podcast. But stay tuned for more realness coming to you soon. Until next time, babes.